Welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show, where we get to the heart of why you overeat and how to stop. If you struggle with food and weight like I did, welcome home.
Welcome everybody to the Heal Your Hunger Show. So happy to have you here. It is a great day to be alive, and I'm so excited about today's guest. So timely because we are talking about holiday swaps. So ways that you can enjoy the holidays without feeling gross afterwards. So wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't it be nice to just enjoy good flavors and herbs and yummy foods without feeling stuffed and mad at yourself and like you have to go pass out on the couch? Like you can actually go for an after dinner walk or something. So we cover ways to swap out for mashed potatoes, ways to swap out for pie, ways to swap out for stuffing. Oh my gosh, we've got a lot of good stuff coming up. So you're going to love my guest. She's amazing. And we are doing this recording live in the Secret Sauce group. So if you're not yet in the Secret Sauce group, you gotta be there. This is where we do most of our recordings live. So you can get the scoop, know what's going on, and get supported. So this is a Facebook group. It's private. You go to the Secret Sauce to End Emotional Eating. Ask to join. We'd love to have you. But this is where you can begin your healing journey, your heal your hunger journey, where you're not doing diets anymore. You're healing at the deepest level. You're healing everything that stands in the way between you and freedom with food. Doesn't that sound nice? So check it out, the Secret Sauce to End Emotional Eating. And you're going to love this show. Let's dig in. Let me tell you about my guest here today. Dr. Ritamarie is the founder of the Institute of Nutritional Endocrinology and specializes in the art of using whole, fresh plant foods in delicious ways to restore balance to hormones and body systems. She also trains and certifies health and wellness professionals in the art of using plate-pleasing and palate-pleasing whole fresh food as medicine. Dr. Ritamarie is a best-selling author, speaker, and internationally recognized nutrition and women's health authority with over 25 years of clinical experience. Welcome, Dr. Ritamarie. How are you, girl?
I am good, and you have a very old bio, it sounds like.
Well, that went on our Make Peace with Food events page.
Oh, really? It's over 30 years, so you have a 5-year-old bio.
Okay, well, we'll fix that.
Stuff. Okay, I'll have to send you an updated one.
No grass grows under your feet, so I'm not surprised it's totally outdated now. So, yeah, I'm just so happy to talk with you. I love your events. I love your food. I love your catered food at your events. You know, you just know how to do it, and really nutritious foods, but without the guilt, without feeling, like you're hurting your body or bloating your body, inflaming your body. It's like they're so nutritious and good. And so you're my go-to authority for, what ingredients actually heal your body. Like you're all about ingredients that heal your body. So can you explain what nutritional endocrinology is? Because that's kind of a mouthful as it is.
It is a mouthful. And so endocrinology is the study of hormones, right? So there's a branch of medicine called endocrinology, which is hormones, right? All the hormones in the body. And nutritional endocrinology is how do we manipulate, so to speak, balance hormones using nutrition. And I incorporate nutrition loosely as anything we put in and on our body. So it incorporates the thoughts we think, the things we listen to, the food we put in our mouth, the things we put on our bodies, all of that. And all of that can control hormones. And actually hormones control every function in the body, including appetite.
Yes, of course, right? Hunger hormones. So I love that. That is so all-inclusive, and it's so important to make it all-inclusive. So you're not just saying like this narrow focus and this one medication that's going to fix all or whatever. You're like, no, let's approach it from all these different angles, because we're living, breathing human beings out in the world, having relationships, having stress, having work stuff. How can we just live a more holistic and healthy life? So I really love that you do that.
I do too. It's
fun. That's cool. And you, obviously your backdrop, that's not a phony backdrop, by the way, for everybody. Those are real books that she has read. Or mostly
it's
red.
a part of my real library. It's just a fraction of it. Actually, I'm more over here and over there and over there and downstairs. And I'm a book nerd. I love to read and research. Now, I haven't really added to that collection much in the last few years because I've been doing Kindle. But I have, hundreds of books on my Kindle account, and I read them from my iPad or iPhone.
Love it. So you do a lot, not only with food and healthy food and cooking, show people like real time in your kitchen. You were at our event in your kitchen showing us how to make really yummy pizza and blueberries and cream. And we had some great things going on at the Make Peace with Food event. But you not only do that, I mean, that's a fraction of what you do because on a more macro scale, you help practitioners learn, very vital information that they may not be getting, in their training so that they can really help somebody heal their body in a more, holistic and integrated way. Can you talk about that?
Absolutely. And I would say it's not that they may not be getting it in their training. They are not getting it in their training. Okay. Because medical schools don't focus on prevention and healing through natural means, right? So the allopathic approach means you give this for that. So you come up with a diagnosis and then you have a treatment protocol for it. When you're using nutritional endocrinology and functional medicine, and it's kind of like functional medicine plus whole foods nutrition equals nutritional endocrinology and lifestyle added to that. So I teach practitioners because what I see is I get frustrated pretty much every day by the stories I hear, by things that are overlooked by conventional medical practitioners. And when we start to dig below the surface and we ask lots of questions about food and we do some functional lab tests to see what's actually going on in the body, we find that people are not getting the right treatment and they're given drugs when they don't need drugs. They need to, they need a lifestyle and diet overhaul.
Yeah. Well, I have to just say, I mean, I'm going to tell a personal story because I have done in my podcast, I've talked about the TIA that I had. And right on the heels of that and getting all my blood work, I was in the emergency room for 30 hours. So they did all kinds of blood work and tests. And, they put me on a blood thinner, they put me on a statin, they did some other things, which is good. After coming off a TIA was good, important, steps to take. But we're still not to the bottom of what happened, but I showed Dr. Ritamarie my blood work and right out of off the bat, she finds two different, elevated levels in my numerous tests. And then we did a little research and found out that it could be this thing, antiphospholipid syndrome. Now, I just went to a cardiologist yesterday because I'm doing everything I can do. And I told her, I said, I have these two things. And she's like, yeah, okay, that's true. We're going to do that. That's going to be one of the things we look into and do more blood work around. But Ritamarie was the first one to even spot that. Nobody else was on the case. And so that was so awesome, Dr. Ritamarie. And then also is kind of funny in my appointment yesterday, because I am taking this, baby aspirin blood thinner. She's like, oh yeah, you have to take that the rest of your life. And then the statin that they have me on, which I'm not actually taking right now, but I have to get another prescription, but they're saying it's more for the clotting and stuff like that. But she's like, oh yeah, you got to take that for the rest of your life. And just with no question asked, oh yeah, you have to take that for the rest of your life. Well, I'm young. And so that's a long time. So right. Can you address that? And so this is live, in the moment, as we speak, we're going to translate what the cardiologist said into alternatives, into swaps. So Can you talk to me about what, maybe I don't have to do that for the rest of my life. What would I do instead?
Yeah. So that's a great point. It's they don't get to what's caused this, right? So we found that there was this autoimmune condition going on and the levels were not outrageous. You had right. This raging thing you had. But, if you've got, one little tack sticking in the side of your head, you want to take it out. You don't want to wait till there's 27 of them and then you have a raging headache.
Right. So, and I'll do some more blood work and check it. But you're the first one who's ding, ding, ding. This is a
problem. And one of the things that happens when you have this antiphospholipid syndrome is clots and strokes and TIA right. and heart attacks. And so it's an autoimmune disease, which means your immune system is going haywire, and it's causing your body to attack its own tissue. And in medicine, there is no cure for an autoimmune disease.
Okay.
It's like you have it for the rest of your life. You have Hashimoto's, it doesn't turn around. You have Sjogren's, it doesn't turn around. You have lupus, it doesn't turn around. And I'm here to say they do turn around when you get the body in balance. And so we have to look for what are all the other imbalances that are going on. And when you have a clotting disorder or you have a stroke or something caused that blood to clot. So we want to look at that, and we want to look at not just your cholesterol levels and your HDL levels and your LDLs, which by the way, we're off. So you need to address those.
Yep.
But other things like the particle sizes and the lipoprotein little a and the oxidized LDL and other things like that. And I would actually recommend a calcium score to see if you actually have any builds up. It's a CT scan, very low radiation that you can do of the heart. And it tells you how much plaque is built up there, right?
Got it.
And so you want to address that, but you also want to address the autoimmune disease. And I have a framework that I use to help people, and I teach it to my practitioners for healing autoimmune disease. It's a 5-part framework. I didn't make it up. It's based on science. And we actually go through and we eliminate the stressors on the system that's causing your immune system to not handle things. And one of our colleagues that we know, you know him well too, Dr. Tom O'Brien, I interviewed him on my podcast on Reinvent Healthcare, and we were talking about autoimmune stuff. And he says, the immune system is not malfunctioning. It's doing its job of protecting you from the toxic overload and the stress hormone overload. And what you have to do to heal it is you have to get rid of those things. So those are the things I would look at. If I were working with you as a practitioner, I would take you through a process of looking for all of those stressors on your system that's causing your immune system to feel like it has to attack because there's these toxins or other kinds of chemicals in there that are not doing you well. So it's really an autoimmune disease is actually your body's attempt to heal you, to protect you. And it unfortunately causes bad stuff to happen as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a great example. The other thing is you were talking to me about alternatives, right, to the baby aspirin idea, and even to the statins.
Yeah, so there's a lot of options when it comes to blood thinners that don't have the side effect of ripping a hole in your stomach lining, right? So nattokinase, which is derived from soybeans, and it was found by some, high-end scientist who was actually, the funny story I heard him tell it was that he was Japanese and he was in the lab and he was eating his lunch while he was working in the lab, and he had petri dishes and he was working on, cardiac and clots and all this stuff. And he ended up dropping a piece of his natto, which is a traditional Japanese meal. It's a fermented type of soybean that has the ability to break things down. And they just eat that as a natural course. And he was eating that and it dropped on the plate. And he was like, oh my God, it broke down the blood clot on his petri dish. So that's how it was discovered that this enzyme in the natto is called nattokinase. That's a supplement that can be taken. And there's tons of research. If you go out and look on PubMed and nattokinase and blood clots and nattokinase as a blood thinner, wonderful things like that. Your fatty acids, you need to do a test to see what's your fatty acids, what's your omega-6 to 3 ratio, because your fatty acid balance is super important for blood thinning. Then you have to look at, there's so many other things to look at in an advanced panel to look at what is causing you to have this issue.
Right. And you also talked about turmeric too.
Turmeric is one of them. Yeah. Turmeric, ginger. There's a lot of really basic stuff. And of course, it's best to work with somebody who's knowledgeable, a functional medicine doctor who also knows cardiology. Yeah. And I oftentimes refer people to one of our friends who is a cardiologist who does food-based medicine, but medicine when it's needed. So you need to get the right kind of testing, and then you need to address the underlying causes and dysfunctions.
But I just love that approach. It makes so much more sense, right? Than just like, oh yeah, just this is how it is.
Take this for the rest of your life.
Like ask no more questions. No.
You know what that's called?
Tell me.
CYA.
CYAs. I don't know.
Cover your
Oh, cover your ass.
Yes, yes, because that's what the standard of care is. So if they tell you something otherwise and something bad happens to you, you can get a
Right.
lawyer and sue them.
Right, right,
So they
right.
are doing the CYA approach rather than
Yeah.
the I care for you approach.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So if this is piquing people's interest, if this is a conversation you can really get into, you know, for some, it might be a little too in the weeds, but there's a lot of people who love this and are so passionate about health and really digging into those underlying causes. Can you talk to us about the event you have coming up? Because it will be right up so many people's alleys if they're practitioners or they just nerd out on this kind of information.
Yeah, I love the way you put that. They nerd out because a lot of people do. And a lot of people don't trust that allopathic medicine has the answer. So they want to find out as much as they can so they can be their own practitioner. You know, not 100% because, you know, there's trauma and there's all kinds of things that you need to, like you needed to be rushed to the hospital at that time, right?
Amen.
So, right. Yeah, and I'm always grateful for Western medicine in those kinds of emergency situations. So I have an event coming up. It's starting next Thursday night. It's called SHINE, and SHINE stands for, get this, Scientific and Holistic Investigation of Nutritional Endocrinology.
I love it.
We came up with that years ago, and every year we have a SHINE and we have different theme each time.
And I just put a link. I just put a link to it so people can check it out in the comments.
Oh, good. Thank you. And then, so what happens is the SHINE conference this year, the whole thing is on overcoming chronic fatigue and how providing practitioners with strategies to actually help people who are chronically tired. And it doesn't mean chronic fatigue syndrome, although that's part of it, but it's people who are just tired all the time. And they go to the doctor and they go, oh, your thyroid's normal. Oh, maybe your iron's a little low. Here, take iron. And that's it, right? They don't really, they might look for an internal bleeding problem if the iron is low, but it's like, there's so much more. And I put together this framework. I don't like protocols. I call them frameworks for evaluating and then working on and balancing the things that get out of balance that cause people to be fatigued, right? And fatigue could be an early warning sign that you do have a cardiac thing, that you aren't getting the right circulation to your tissue, that your brain isn't functioning right, that your gut isn't functioning right, that your blood sugar is out of balance, and there's so many other things. So we're going to explore this for 3 days. We actually kind of started it today because we have a VIP option where you get these extra trainings, and we started it today with an amazing talk on the gut. And we're doing another one tomorrow on it with amazing talk on the the various tests, the functional lab tests that you can do for helping people discover why are they tired, because it's one of the most common complaints that you're going to have doctors that they say almost everybody comes in and they're tired. I don't know what to do, right? Go tell them to drink more caffeine. That's not the solution. Oops, you're muted.
Yeah, no, don't do that. So, so that's super cool. So I put the link in the chat. This is for people who are practitioners who want to dig into, or who want to become practitioners, because you actually train. You have a whole training program for people to become practitioners.
I have the nutritional endocrinology practitioner training.
I love that. Awesome. Well, I'm excited for you and for all the information you're going to teach and for those attending, and they can go online or in person. If you're anywhere near Austin, Texas, be there because she serves the best food ever at her. I've been literally, because I've been a speaker for your events before, and the food is so good. Okay, which is actually a great segue into our Thanksgiving holiday swaps. It doesn't have to be Thanksgiving, but that's where we're coming up on right now. Right. So you're a vegan, all right, which for a lot of people, it sounds like very not.
I prefer to say plant-based.
Plant-based, okay.
Whole foods plant-based.
And why do you say that? Because people kind of eat processed foods as vegan.
Has this connotation of being activists and crazy people who just don't eat meat, but they eat everything else that, that's not healthy. So I call it whole foods plant-based because what I eat are foods that nourish my body. I don't eat the vegan sausages and all the junk food.
All the processed foods.
Oh, the processed food. You can eat, there's a lot of junk foods, probably a lot of candies and things that we wouldn't eat. So it's really a whole foods plant-based diet. And some people choose to do a whole foods plant-based diet with a little bit of animal products, mixed in with their big stir fries of vegetables and things like that. So yeah, it's a whole foods plant-based diet. And I've been doing it for 36 or 7 years. All right. Haven't died yet. I'm totally healthy. I don't have any health issues. I'm full of energy. I exercise every day. I work like a maniac.
And you're not 50 years old, even though you look like you are.
No, I am not 50. I was 50 a while ago. I feel 35 though.
Yeah.
So it's a challenge for me because my oldest son is 28. And so when he gets to be in his 30s, it's going to be like, at this point, I can be 35 and have my kid in the 20s. It doesn't make sense logically, but psychologically, but when he gets older than 35, I'm going to say, well, this isn't my kid. He's my brother or something, because I actually feel like I'm 35. I feel better than I did when I was 35.
Yeah, you look great. You have so much energy. What, if people are like just assuming they're going to eat crappy food at Thanksgiving, can you offer us some obviously some swaps, some ways to like reframe holiday meals and see how we can make it healthier?
Absolutely. So first of all, if you are eating turkey, which most people are, I mean, not most, but a lot of people are, make sure it's organically raised. Do not go and buy the one at the Butterball at the supermarket that's all full of chemicals and hormones and who knows what. Pay a little more and eat a little less, right?
Yeah.
Pay a little more and eat a little less. So your meal budget is going to be the same. The other thing is, if you like stuffing, right? There's a lot of ways to make stuffing that's just not just white bread type of particles, which isn't good, especially if you're an emotional eater. It's a sugar food. It goes, ooh, I want more of that stuff, right? We don't pig out and eat more broccoli, but we do eat more bread and the stuffing. So you can make your own stuffing. I have all kinds of great recipes for stuffing where my personal favorite is I take walnuts and pecans and chestnuts and a whole bunch of veggies, and I kind of grind it up in the food processor to make the same consistency. And then I add the poultry seasoning, the parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme, all the things my mother added to it. And I make it into a loaf, and it's delicious.
Love that.
It's so good, right? So I have that. And then we always eat mashed potato, or that's a traditional in my family. It was mashed potatoes. I mean, they eat these huge mounds of mashed potatoes. Well, mashed potatoes is another trigger food. It's also high glycemic, which makes you crave more carbs, right? And puts more fat around your belly. So I make mashed potatoes from cauliflower. I just steam up a big pot full of cauliflower, and I take it and I put it in the blender and I do it till it's creamy. And then I add whatever seasonings I want to add to it. And a lot of people don't even know that it's not mashed potatoes, because
I love that.
Family, right? The family eats it.
Yeah.
These are good mashed potatoes. They taste a little different. What kind of seasoning did you use?
Yeah.
Right. So that's that. The other thing that's traditional that I grew up with was cranberry, right? We bought those cans, those disgusting cans of
Ocean spray.
Ocean spray loaded with sugar, right?
So much sugar.
Good. And you're eating that as part of your main meal. It's not even dessert, let alone what happens at dessert. So you could just buy fresh cranberries. Even Ocean Spray has a bag of fresh cranberries. You can get them at the supermarket, and you can put them in your food processor and add some good stuff. If you want them sweet, you could add some oranges to it. You could add just seasonings. I do one version of it, which is a spicy cranberry sauce. So I put that in there, and then I put in like turmeric and ginger and a little bit of hot pepper and stuff like that. So all kinds of ways you can do it if you just go and Google.
Put stevia. Make sure
you can put stevia if you want it. I put stevia in there. Sometimes I put orange oil. So some people are sensitive to even the fruit, raising their sugar. If that's the case for you, you get some orange oil and you get some stevia, and you make these delicious cranberry dish. Right.
Love it. Oh, I love that so much, because it's always loaded with sugar, and I'm just like, no, I'll pass, but I would love to be able to have cranberry with turkey.
Right. It really literally takes minutes to make these things. The things I've mentioned so far literally take minutes.
Yeah.
The stuffing takes a little longer, but the cranberry and the mashed potatoes, literally minutes.
I love that. And then you whooped up, I keep saying whoop. That's not the right word, but whipped up. You whipped up this blueberries and cream. So if somebody's like thinking, oh, I have to have pie, on Thanksgiving. So what do you do?
I make pie. The crust is usually made with some nuts and seeds, and I'll make sure I put some omega-3 rich, hemp seeds or walnuts or something like that in there. and it presses into a pan. You can add stevia again for the sweetness. And I press it into the pie pan. And then for the filling, it depends on what you want. Apples, you cut up apple and you mix it with, again, you can use stevia or lohan as sweeteners, but you usually don't need it if you get sweet apples. And you just, put something that makes it kind of gel together. And there's a number of different things. You could do chia seeds, you can do psyllium, you can do, what's that stuff called? Not lohan, it's
Orgum?
no, I don't use that. There's it's from the plant, blah blah blah. It's a plant that grows in China. I'm drawing a blank on it. Konjac, and it's a konjac.
Okay.
And it's from a root. It's actually fiber, so it has no calories to it. Makes you feel really full.
Wow.
You put it in there and there's no craving from that. And so that's apple pie. I've made pumpkin pie. Same thing, you can just buy a can of pumpkin or you can buy a fresh pumpkin. You blend it up. I usually add something creamy to it because it's usually dairy in there. So I'll add in coconut milk or coconut cream. And I make this amazing pumpkin pie. And people go crazy over it. We've made cheesecake. My husband loves to make the cheesecake, and he makes this cheesecake with all kinds of strawberries on it. Everybody loves it.
Okay, so cheesecake, didn't let people know it doesn't have any cheese in it.
Oh, there's no dairy in there, right? We make it with usually white nuts. So it's like cashews, macadamia nuts, or pine nuts. Usually I don't do pine nuts because they're too expensive. So I just use the cashews and macadamia nuts with coconut.
Okay.
And blend that up and it holds together. You put it in the freezer or the refrigerator, gel it together, and it's yummy. And again, we use sweeteners like lohan or stevia. And, whatever flavors. He loves almond extract. So we put some almond extract.
Oh, that sounds good.
Extract. And it makes this cheesecake that people I can't believe I'm eating this cheesecake. It's not going to constipate me. It's not going to make me, crave more. It's not going to add to my waistline. Obviously there's calories in there. So if you overeat it, but it doesn't cause you to want to overeat because
Oh, I love it. This has been amazing. Great swap. So good. And that's what you do. And the way she so easily mentions these things, that's how easily she cooks these things. I've watched her in the kitchen. She just, again, whoops it up.
And once whoops it up, that's going to be my new term. I just whooped this up for you. One of the things we did a couple of years ago was this wasn't a traditional dish for me, but my sister-in-law always make the sweet potato thing. So we said, let's make some sweet potato pie. So again, with the crust, and we just made sweet potatoes, which are naturally sweet, and we added coconut milk to it. Oh, and cinnamon, of course.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
Wow. That makes sense. So easy.
Yeah, we don't need sugar to make us crave more food and make us fat. We don't need
Oh my gosh. This is great. Thank you so much for sharing these things. I just want people to hear that there's another way. You don't have to slide down that rabbit hole of overeating in the holidays. It's you can change it up right now and really enjoy your food. And people, what I find is if you make healthy options, people actually end up preferring them and wanting more of them. It's they're like, oh my God, because they realize it tastes good, but they feel good after. They don't feel crappy after.
Exactly. Can I give you one last hint?
Yes, please.
When you make this thing and it's gluten-free and dairy-free and sugar-free and tastes yummy, don't tell people unless they care.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to bring it to somebody and they're gluten-free, they're conscious. Don't tell them. You just walk in with this beautiful dessert or this meal and they eat it and they go, oh my God, this is the best thing. What?
They don't need to know those details. They just need to know.
Because then they won't taste it. Then they'll go, oh no, this is one of your nutcases.
Yeah, it's healthy. It must not be good. Yeah, I love that. Great. Well, Ritamarie, thanks so much for hopping in and popping in and, and just being a part of Heal Your Hunger in the ways that you are and offering great suggestions and solutions for healthy eating. And I wish you all the best for your upcoming event. You guys do not miss this. Just, get a ticket, be a part of it. It's online. You can attend and hear her. And she's full of amazing knowledge, as you can tell. And and there's really great people who attend as well. So if you want to be in community with health-minded, heart-centered, people who are looking to better the planet with good health. You want to be there at the Shine event coming up. So thank you so much for coming on impromptu. This is really fun.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's fun.
Yeah,
It's always fun to talk about food.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
If you enjoyed this podcast and want to get free support, insider health info, exclusive invites to events, and more, visit healyourhunger.com.